Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Neka from Niger Canada Girl, and today I actually have an exciting series going on here. This is going to be just a bit of a deviation of what I usually do. I know a lot of the time I focus mostly on lifestyle, but this time I'm going to be talking more about career. We'll be talking about professional stuff because I also get a lot of questions around penetrating your career field after you land Canada as a new immigrant, and specifically, though, because I'm in the marketing field, digital marketing specifically. So I get a lot of questions around, oh, how do I get a job in digital marketing? Where do I start from? So who better to help us out than my dear friend? Her name is Zino. Zino is a professional digital marketer. She's a performance marketer. She's a growth marketer. She's worked in more than 2 companies in Canada since she landed in the digital marketing space, and it's across different industries. And also, she leads like a group of digital marketers who also comprise of new immigrants trying to navigate the way. So she shares very useful resources, and she hosts trainings every now and then. So I thought, hey, why not? It would be great to bring Zino on, and she has so gracefully agreed to be on this video with us. So it's a recorded Zoom session, but hopefully I'm able to share this after it's done, and you'll be able to benefit from it. So guys, this is Zino. I'll just allow Zino to do her thing, introduce herself a bit, and we'll get right into the interview.
Thank you, Neka. Hi. Thank you for being my friend, Neka, too. My name is Zino. I have been in Canada for 2 years. Before moving to Canada, I was in digital marketing in Nigeria for like 8 years. And then I moved to Canada, and I wanted to remain in the digital marketing space. And then I would say it was a mixture of luck and some several tips and things that I picked up along the way. I have been able to actually get 3 digital marketing jobs, like Neka has said, and yes, across different industries. But like right now in digital marketing, in the whole of the digital marketing field, I focus mostly in performance marketing and growth marketing, because that's where I fell in love. That's what I fall in love with, and I would just rather be there than in the other spaces. Yeah.
Thanks, thanks for sharing a bit about yourself. And I know a lot of people right now are really, really getting ready to dig into the meat of what this conversation is about. So a very popular question I get is, how exactly did you get into the marketing space, digital marketing space? Did you have to do a survival job first? What are the things I could do to help me get in? What are some useful tips you can share and all that? So I think the first question I'll be asking today is, how exactly did you nail your first job in the digital marketing space? What did you do that these people are not doing? Please share some of these secrets with us.
Okay, so I think that, so I left Nigeria the last day in January in 2018. And then just 2 weeks or 1 week before then, my husband we had done like some introduction, and I had to leave impromptu. So I made up my mind that I was not going to come back from my wedding without a job. So by the time I landed in Canada, February 1, I was desperate for a job. So it did not take, I spent the first 2 days like just chilling. And so I landed on the Thursday. I decided I was going to, by Monday, I was going to go full on job searching. And then, but it didn't take me up to 3 days or 4 days to realize that, oh my God, my resume was not ready for this, for what we have here. So like, there was just so many skills, so many tools, so many certifications that was missing from my resume that people who, that digital marketing jobs here required. So I just knew I had to change. So what I started doing, I'm going to tell you guys what I started doing. And I would say that some of them was not, maybe some were not straightforward, but let me just say what I started doing. So for every job description I see, that I see a skill or a tool or a certification that I did not have, I'll add it to my resume. So that's where I started from. So it's not like I just add it to my resume. When I add it, I'll take time and do some research around it. But I've added it to my resume, right? So that it will look like, oh yes, I know it. And then so that, I don't know, I believe that you guys might have heard there's something called the applicant tracking system, or the ATS in Canada. When you're the first level of assessment of your job application, when you send in your resume, is some machine that will do some comparison that will search for some keywords on your resume. And if you don't hit, I think 80% or 90% or so, you're disqualified. So that was the first thing I was attacking, like just putting all the necessary keywords, skills, certifications, knowledge, whatever in my resume, just so that I can pass through the first level, so that at least my resume will get seen by the HR person. But before I continue, let me mention some of the big difference, some of the things that were missing from my resume. The first thing that I saw, and I was confused, because I'm like, what? I'm a digital marketing person. I don't have to know how to design. The first thing that was coming up was Adobe Photoshop. You see digital marketing resume, digital marketing job description, and you see part of the job responsibilities is that you should be able to design. I'm like, what? How am I supposed to be able to design? Like, I didn't used to design in Nigeria. Anyways, like I said, I added it inside that resume. But I'll start trying to learn by myself how to make it work, or how to whatever. The second thing that was coming up was HTML. That's when I started realizing that they really believed in you needed to learn how to code a bit. In fact, as if you're coming here as a digital marketer, we'll talk about that soon. You need to learn how to code. Either SQL codes, HTML, you need to know how to code. Anyway, so I had to add the HTML thing to my resume. My Google Ads certification, I literally added Google Ads certification, Facebook Blueprint, all of that to my resume before I did them. I put them just so that I will get calls, even before I did them. And then at the end of the day, of course, there's Google Data Studio. There is SEM Rush. SEM Rush was a big thing for them too, because it's like Canadians really believe in tools. So your ability to understand how to navigate tools and make the tools speak to each other, automation, all of that, to make it work for your business is what's going to make you outstanding as a digital marketer. One of the things that make you outstanding as a digital marketer in Canada. Anyway, so so that's, like I said, the first thing I did was ensure that I passed that first level of assessment, which is ensure that I put all of those skills and certifications in my resume. Second thing I did, and I realized at that point, is that looking for a job in Canada, I guess even everywhere, or it could even apply to other things in life, but looking for a job is like the marketing funnel. You know, I don't know if when you talk about the marketing funnel, they tell you that you should fill the top with awareness, so that you can get results come out at the bottom of the funnel. That's the way it is with looking for a job. That's the truth. So in my 30 days, I got in February 1. I started looking for a job around February 5th. I got a job at the end of February. So like in my 30 days of searching for jobs, every day I would apply to at least 10 different jobs. At the least 10. This is at the least. It's like I'll just be pressing apply. Indeed was big. So I think that one thing people struggle with is just because of what I said about the ATM system and the matching, searching for relevant keywords thing. What I realize is that people struggle and start trying to adjust. Why it's hard for people to do up to 10 applications a day is because they have to start adapting their resume to fit the job description. But baby girl, we can drop all of those. I have the list as a digital marketer, I have the list of skills, these certifications and things that once you add it to your resume, I'm almost so sure you will get called. There's no way you'll miss you out. So I can share with you. So with that, it was so easy for me. I did not need to be adjusting. So I'll just be applying. I'm sure I applied to over 20 a day, honestly, sometimes. So when you apply, so let me tell you, in my 30 days, according to Indeed, that was just Indeed alone. I applied to over 300 jobs in my 30 days of looking for a job. And that was Indeed alone. I also applied to other small jobs, I use other platforms. I can't hear you, Neka.
I said LinkedIn, Glassdoor,
Yes,
and
yes, those other ones. I tried, but I was big on Indeed. But I tried LinkedIn, Glassdoor, and all of those things. But I was big on Indeed. I applied to over 300 jobs, guys. I got, let's say, 30 phone interviews only. I got, let's say, 10 physical interviews, and I got only one job offer.
This is out of 300. So it's really like a marketing funnel, like you said.
Yes. So you don't know what is going to work for you. The best thing you can do is do for yourself is fill the top of your funnel. That's how great. That is the secret. And I've told other people about, even generally, not only even related to digital marketing. When you're looking for a job here and you come here, fill the top of your funnel. Something will click. At least something will click. Let's say even 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, but something will eventually work out. There are very few people I've seen who are so lucky that they just say, I applied to one job, I got it. It's like very few. Those ones, they have jazz or something. But yeah, so I think that's the other secret, or the other advice I have. And now let me say this. I'm going to say 2 more things. I actually also, to be sincere, I was also looking for other jobs apart, well, not as much. My focus was to get into digital marketing. But given that everybody had come say, you have to do survival job, I also started looking for customer service jobs, or to do I think I got 2 interviews for customer service jobs. All the 2, I failed it. I don't know. That means I don't know how to do customer service. Like, I'm like, how come everybody else is getting customer service job? What's the thing that is what am I doing wrong? Anyways, I just knew that means customer service is not for me. Then I think the final thing I should actually tell people that you should definitely consider, if you are just, let me tell you what I feel, to be sincere. I feel like you should spend the first 3 months actively looking for a job in your field. Actively. After 3 months, if you do not find, then you can maybe start to introduce this whole customer service thing. I see unless you are very determined and you're strong, that you will not let the hours or your customer service hours affect your looking for your other job, unless you have that determination. But if you don't have that determination, I advise you to just focus 3 months looking for a job. If you don't get it, try customer service. Yeah. Then if you want to try customer service, you can be creative and try to do customer service for a company that is doing stuff related to marketing. Like things like that. Just there's different ways to. Yeah. And then what's the last thing that helped me? So it's how also my preparation for interviews. I don't joke with when I'm preparing for interviews. I ask myself questions. I rehearse. The 2 things that I know they like here is when they ask you, the first one, I know they like when they ask you what you know about their company. They want you to tell them something about their company. I was once preparing to go for an interview at Red Cross, and then I had just gotten a new job and I was still job hunting, sort of. And then I didn't really, I'm like, Red Cross is one hospital thing like this. There's no need for me to really prepare or whatever. The first question the guy asked me is, have you been to our website? What do you think about it? And I'm like, shit, Red Cross. I started trying to, I have to open up. I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I did not check your website. The guy told me, as much as I did well, the guy told me when I asked for feedback, he told me that he really liked me, but the one thing that he didn't get, he said that he doesn't want, that I didn't seem prepared when he asked me what I thought about the website, and I didn't have anything to say. So as a digital marketer, you need to be checking. So since then, every interview before I go, I check the website. I actually draw out like a small marketing plan for them, so that when I go into the interview, I have what to say. The second thing that works for me is at the end, they would ask you if you have any questions for them.
Yeah.
I always go with the question I want to ask. And as I continued, I now realized that ask questions out of digital marketing. So ask questions as it relates to the business. So you can ask like something like, so how is the customer base responding to this your new product? like you have to have something very strategic outside of. So to look and see if that this guy is really thinking big.
Yeah.
Before I go, I would have calculated the question I'm going to ask. Then I'll ask it. Now, then that first time, I don't do it again because I already worked here. My first job, there's one question I used to ask. And I think that's one of the reasons I got that my first job. After everything has gone well, when they say, do you have questions? I'll ask them, I'll be like, is there a problem do you have a problem with the fact that I'm new to Canada and I don't have any Canadian experience? That puts them on the spot, and then they'll like, no, it's no problem at all, no. and then, and then they'll say, like, the job I got, it was a Canada Computers. I remember the guy telling me that, oh no, you remember the lady told me, oh, I came here 15 years ago and I was an immigrant too, and somebody gave me the chance. So no, like that's
that kind of them in case they were thinking
exactly. So that kind of like made us like react. Just one other thing I used to push them off is not only them, like every other interview. I did it for my BMO interview. I asked the girl, I'm like, I know that we had a good conversation, but what's the one thing you're not comfortable about? And then she said, the later she now opened up and says, because she thinks I'm too experienced for the role. But I would have left there not knowing that that's what she thought. Yeah, so we should also ask that. Yeah, so that's the tips I have now.
Interview, actually. That makes sense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow, I'm already feeling so, like, I've taken in so much already. I'm like, right now, we can even just wrap up this interview. Oh my God. So, thank you so much. So, something else I'm going to be asking is, what would you say is the major difference, or what are those major differences between digital marketing as it's practiced in Nigeria and how it's practiced here in Canada, just so that people who are coming here are able to brace themselves, unlearn some things, relearn. So, like, what are the key differences you found in your experience?
Okay. I should have written this down so that I can have the list because there are plenty, but let me try just off the top of my head. First thing coming to my head is that this if you want to be a successful digital marketer in Canada, you have to understand the basics of data analytics.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first thing. You are responsible. Your job in Nigeria as a digital marketer, my job just used to end in putting up a social media post or running an ad. I'll come and say that. I'll not come and tell them that 200,000 people looked at the ad. Okay, so what?
No.
In Canada, your job ends when that your ad has turned into revenue. So my reporting is not awareness. My reporting is return on ad spend. I'm saying that, so we spent $20,000 to get $60,000 in revenue. That is what my reporting is, or that's what my life is. That's what my day-to-day is how to optimize the return on ad spend, basically. Now, doing all of that requires so much. So I need to learn how to navigate my platforms. AdWords is crazy. What? It was here that I started learning it. Since I got here, I've seen a couple of Nigerian good companies, AdWords accounts, and I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have to track my AdWords. How am I going to put this? You just have to. Oh God, it's big. AdWords, you have to learn how to clean up your account every day. That's the best I can say. So you have to set rules that would automatically maybe turn off non-converting keywords for you, or increase the bid for non-converting keywords and stuff like that. Or you have to, every day I have to check my account to ensure that my money is not spending on keywords I should not be spending on. You have to get very specific and tight with your keywords. What's your keyword match type combination? You have to start thinking about that. Let's not even talk about what the ad copy is. That's what you're saying. Let's not even talk about the fact that you have to add UTM parameters to the URL of all your ads, so that you can track, if possible, to what ad is even bringing the most conversions.
Yeah.
And all of these things apply to Facebook too. Same thing I do with Facebook. Then it was here that I realized, when I talked about design, if you're a digital marketer here, you have to learn how to design at least a landing page, at least design. So I started designing landing pages here too, because I also have to optimize the landing page. So that's when you're talking about tools like Google Optimize and things like that, just to ensure that, or the goal really is just to ensure that yes, you're optimizing your return on ad spend. If not, you're failed as a digital marketer, especially as a performance marketer here. Basically, that's it. So that's one thing. That's the first one here, is that you need to be very revenue minded, very revenue driven when you're for everything that you're doing. Then you need to understand tracking. You need to understand tracking and analytics, and you need to understand how all your tools speak to each other and make those tools work for you. Yeah. Okay. So I have to integrate for every new tool that we use. We have to integrate it. So like I have to understand how my Google AdWords is speaking to analytics, or how the chatbot in my website that also generates leads is speaking to Google Analytics, also speaking to Facebook ads at the same time, and maybe Bing ads. Together with our CRM, we use HubSpot. Together with the CRM and even the SQL database, everything has to speak to each other correctly. You need to know what your single source of truth is, which is typically your CRM or your database. And then you need to understand how that whole thing works. So basically you need to be very numeric, very analytical, and all of that. The second thing is not the third thing now would be third thing that would be different is, I don't know, I've said it. I think I've said it. Yeah, I mentioned tools, how they all speak to each other. I mentioned tools in terms of analytics. So now even tools in terms of just doing your job well, just automating random things, just ensuring you're doing your job well. Like if you're a content writer and understanding how to use SEMrush, or even me as a digital marketer, even there's one called Spyful, understanding how to use Spyful, just even understanding how to use MailChimp, just all those other things that help you make your job easy. Your ability to automate your day-to-day jobs, your job actually makes you a successful digital marketer here too. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks so much. Wow, like I have taken it so much. My head is already like, okay. So I know you've touched a lot on tools. You had mentioned tools earlier when we started, and now you've talked about tools now. So I think for now, the next thing I would ask would just be to, if you could suggest, give some tips on some of those tools people could, or especially now that, people have some time on their hands, what are those tools they can already start self-educating themselves on how to use that would help them, nail that job, and even further when they finally get that job?
Okay, let me just start calling it out. You need to learn how to write SQL codes. The beginning, at least basic SQL. Make sure you try and learn basic SQL. It will really help you. You need to learn HTML. You need to learn, of course, Google. You need to learn how to optimize, not just running ads on Google, Facebook. You need to learn how to optimize your Google and Facebook ads and your LinkedIn ads. You need to learn Google Data Studio. Important. If you can, I don't think there's certification for that, but I'm sure there's so much training online for it. Go and try and get at least have a dashboard that you've created for Google Data Studio, so that you can even show people when you go for interviews, say, oh, I know how to use Google Data Studio. There's Google Analytics certification, so make sure you get that. There's Facebook Blueprint, but I think you pay for it. If you can, yes, definitely get that. HubSpot. I've noticed, especially with startups and smaller companies, almost a lot of companies use HubSpot as their CRM. In Canada, lots of companies. So if you can use HubSpot, yes, go and get some HubSpot certification courses. Yeah. What else do I use day to day? Sorry, I can't remember anyone again.
When I'm finally, putting things up, I'll put it in the description box.
Okay, cool.
Should have been able to get all of them from you then, and I'll put it in the description box.
Yeah.
Okay, so another question I would want to ask now is, I know for now I've been talking mostly for people who had been, practicing digital marketing in Nigeria before moving here. How about people who just moved here? Say, for example, they weren't really into digital marketing. They were probably doing something close. Maybe they were just doing the organic part of it. They weren't doing the paid part, and now looking to, expand their nets and, add that qualification as well, so that they'll be able to get in more potential jobs. So where would you say should be the starting point for them? What exactly do they need to learn? what is the very first thing? Like, are there places they could go to study? Is this something they could do themselves? Like, what's the very first step for an intending digital marketer?
Okay, so I think that the easiest way to enter digital marketing, I think everywhere, even here in Canada, is by applying for social media management jobs. Or at least having a social media portfolio that you're managing. It could be your father's own, it could be your church's own. Just have it and start to use it to get, so that you say, I have experience managing social media. That's the first one. So, but with social media actually comes the burden of learning how to design, because they also expect you to be the one to learn the Canva. Sorry, I'll add Canva to that list too.
Canva.
Yeah, and I'll add Google Optimize, and I'll add About to that list, to the previous list. Okay, yeah. So I would say that first enter, if you want to, best thing to do is just start to build your social media portfolio, and that's the first way to enter. Second thing to do, I would advise, and honestly, I would say if you want to be a digital marketer in Canada, you should actually look at performance marketing and growth marketing. Those are the main parts of digital marketing that people actually really look out for. For things like content marketing, I would say yes, but some companies, especially some small companies, will say that they can outsource it to all this, because there's lots of freelance content writers. But things like performance marketing and growth marketing, I mean, your numbers, your business, personal details are involved. They will not just want to let it out. So, and then that's what companies really want. That's what companies are really looking for. So I would advise that as you start your social media, start to find your way towards performance marketing and growth marketing. That's basically paid marketing. Just start finding your way there. One of the quick ways to do that, I feel, I always advise BrainStation. BrainStation.io is is a platform where you can go and learn the digital courses of now, or the digital courses of the future. So they have courses ranging from digital marketing to product marketing to UI, UX, to software engineering and all of that. So, and then they are mostly run by, most of the facilitators are from like all of these young companies of nowadays, and all these young startups. And so I noticed that amongst Canadian employers, there's some affinity towards people who went to BrainStation, because they feel like, oh yes, this BrainStation has taught these people what we really want. So I would say BrainStation is my number one choice. However, there's several of others. I think there's one, Red something, and then there's and then there's I guess there's some online ones you can do too. But like I said, I would rather you do BrainStation. But you can also just go online, Udemy courses and all of that, just to start to improve your performance marketing, growth marketing, your paid marketing skills. That is where I think you will succeed the most as a digital marketer. I should put a clause here, actually. I hear that I've not worked in a bank on everything, but I think in banks, digital marketing strategy is a thing that you should, if you have, banks love it, because banks use agencies to do their job. So they need somebody who can manage that whole thing happening. So if you can learn digital marketing strategy, but digital marketing strategy, you sort of need to know the basics too of paid marketing and stuff. But yeah, that's it.
Okay. And then finally, in terms of networking, I had mentioned earlier that, you started this organization, or do I say like a little group, where people who both have digital marketing experience or are looking to grow in the digital marketing space meet, like an online hub you have. So like, what other networking opportunities would you advise people who just land in Canada and are looking to either get back into the digital marketing space, or just start afresh and start digital marketing as a new career?
I wanted to say LinkedIn, but LinkedIn not work for me. But some people have said LinkedIn worked for them. But let's move on from now. But I guess it makes sense that the first thing you should do is search for LinkedIn. Search in LinkedIn. Typically, what I do is I'll just go and search for, because I have a very active LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you actually go and search for digital marketing, LinkedIn is able to optimize such that it's people that are the closest to you that show first. So you most likely see mostly Nigerians first before it starts showing the non-Nigerians. So I try to connect with the Nigerians, because to me it's easier to, it's easier to reach out to people who you feel like are like you. And but like I said, it did not come and really work for me, but some people it worked for them. But so let me just say LinkedIn. The second thing is marketing TO. Marketing TO is some marketing events that is typically, I think it's one, before this whole lockdown thing, it was once every 2 months. But I don't know what has changed with this lockdown thing. So I guess that we just need to figure it. Just go on their website, marketingto.something. Just search for marketing TO online. They're really big. When they meet, one of the first things that they do is they'll say, okay, does anybody have anything to say, any job opportunities available and stuff? And then like people will actually stand up and say, oh yeah, my company, we're looking for digital marketing. Oh, my company, we're looking for this. And then they'll say their numbers, or you notice them, and then you go and meet them after the session. Like you can network with them that way, and then they can reach out to you. In that marketing TO, like I said, I always stay in my safe zone. I look for other Nigerians. It was in marketing TO that I met Tosan, one very amazing Nigerian, but she's been here for so long, so she's not like in our category that just came, but she's such a good digital marketer. And then I literally just saw her, walked up to me, I'm like, I'm Nigerian too, and you're Nigerian, and that's how we kicked it off. And honestly, she's been very helpful. So that's one way to network. I started doing something also, I forgot to mention. When I go for interviews, if I see that there's a vibe with the person interviewing me, I'll tell them I want them to be my mentor. After I've gotten two other non-Nigerian mentors from that way, and there's one that we actually regularly meet monthly, just to help. Just like I'm sure when that one, if it needs to recruit a digital marketer, he consider me one of the first people he would consider, just to keep that relationship going. And I do that a lot, just to keep that relationship. They actually care about you. So most of them, they actually want to know how you're doing. So he actually reaches out. Then what else for networking? Then there's BPTN. It's on LinkedIn. There's Black Professionals Tech, something like that. Yeah, you can reach out to them. Then there's I think that's all I have for now with networking. Networking never really worked for me to give me a job, but in terms of other things, in terms of learning and stuff, it helped me. But I've heard I know people, like there's people in that DMM Canada group who say that it's because they got the job they got because somebody called out and reached out. So I know that networking is key. But the first place to start your networking is LinkedIn.
Actually, I also think LinkedIn can be helpful because I've had people, so even though you might not have converted eventually, but I've had people put me through the funnel, like, oh, you know what, my company is hiring, and then I could get the interview but not get the job, at least it kind of put me on some part. I know the first person who told me about Red Academy was some guy I chatted up with randomly on LinkedIn, and he's like, oh, I think Red Academy would be a great place for you to better your skills. So yeah, definitely LinkedIn. So now, finally, Zino, now this is a random question, but I just thought it would be helpful. You've had 3 digital marketing jobs in Canada. Can you remember what platforms or how you got each of these jobs from the first one? Like, what platform converted for you? Was it through networking? Was it through Indeed? How did you get
Indeed? It looks as if Indeed and I have a relationship, because everybody else says how Indeed is not working for them. Meanwhile, it's Indeed I've got all my jobs. No, wow. So let me put it, this job I'm in now is actually not Indeed. Actually, it's networking. You know what? I used to work at 111. 111 is a what will I call it? Is a co-working space. Yes, a co-working space. So somebody hooked me up with the marketing manager of this current company I'm working, just to chat. We're just supposed to chat about jogging or something, just a jogging partner or whatever. But me and her hit it off so much that when I left at my other company, And I reached out to her. She says, we are looking for a digital marketer. We are looking for a digital marketer. And she went to talk to her bosses for me to say, oh, I spoke to her. I like her. Let's give her a try. And we did several, and then went through the interview process. And then that's how I got it. There's some story around it that'll be for another time. I've done crazy things. One of these is one of the crazy ones. I don't know if to share it here. I would have needed to share it with you first to say, is that something I can say? But yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that later. So indeed networking.
Yes, but before I got this one, the day before I got a job, I got an offer, and it was Indeed too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So from your experience, you'd say Indeed is a valuable site for jobs.
Yeah, that's what I think. But my cousin, for example, thinks differently. She keeps saying it's LinkedIn because it's LinkedIn that worked for her. Me, LinkedIn, I've gotten interviews, yes, but it has just not converted, like closed for me. But the one that had closed for me is Indeed.
Hey, all right, that's good to know. I think for me, LinkedIn hasn't really converted. I somehow feel like a lot of the openings that come to their job section have been on other job sites longer. And it doesn't. Then you can also see opportunities through people you follow. Someone could just put up something, hey, we're looking for X, hit me up, So I think those ones even convert more than the jobs they actually put up.
Yes.
Yeah, that's my LinkedIn experience. So I actually think Indeed converts more than LinkedIn, in my opinion.
That's what I feel. I think Indeed has more jobs than LinkedIn has, to be sincere.
Yes, definitely. They have this really large network. And I think employers who are looking to hire outside from, like, not just within, hire from outside the organization,
Yeah.
they think first. I think so.
True. That's so true.
Okay, so Zino, it's been really great chatting with you. Any final words? Any food for thought? Any words in marble? Like, just give us something strong for the road.
Something strong for the road. I was listening to one session podcast or something, and then the guy says, it's a Henry Ford quote, which is, whether you can or whether you cannot, whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you're correct. So when all of this is mindset. I have a feeling that because I was so determined to go back home to get married with a job, I put in all my efforts to get a job, and I was so positive. I was like, I'm going to get a job. If not, I'm not going back home. So you just need, everything is mindset. So when you come here, have a mindset that, hey, I'm going to get a job. I know. So before I go, let me give you testimony. I know somebody who used to earn really much in Nigeria, and he actually struggled to come to Canada. Eventually, he came to Canada. Eventually, he came. When I mean he struggled, he got a PR, but he was like, how can he leave this kind of thing to come where there's uncertainty? He does not know if he'll get a job. He came to Canada April last year. You people, he did not get job until 1 week before the lockdown.
Oh, wow.
1 week before the lockdown. Oh, yeah. So, and then guess what? He now got such a very good job.
Wow.
Just before the lockdown. Despite the fact that there was lockdown, they did not take back the letter, they did not take back all of those things. He went to work the first day, second day, he started working from home. And that's it.
Amazing.
That's how he changed. And that's because and every time I spoke to him, he would say he knows God is doing it. He would say, I know something will work out. Something will work out. Something will work out. This is 9 months. I don't think I would have had the liver. I don't think I would have been able to, I would have died since. 9 months or 10. It's what am I saying? Maybe even up to 10 months or 11 months. And then
that was like March. He came in April.
Yeah, that's like almost a. And it was every time. I'm sure if you say, I know. Sometimes I get discouraged, though, but I know that something will happen. I know something will happen. And see, something happened. So just know always that something will happen. The final one I have to say, it was my auntie or so that told me, Nigerian auntie. She says, she said in pidgin English, she says, Zino, you don't see any Nigeria when they don't do here for up to 2 years till they suffer. Think about it. Look at all the people that you know that are Nigerians. And they have been here for 2 years. They've sorted themselves out. The beginning might be tough. It's just tough. But you will sort yourself out.
Actually, that's very true.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's been so fun chatting with you. I'm really mindful of the time, but I'm like, can't we just keep gisting? But
No worries. Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
I know I looked for this sort of content when I first landed and I was trying to get a job. I would go on YouTube, I would go on Google just to find this sort of content. So I was really, really happy when we met, and how this whole thing has been like a journey, not just for me, but for you as well. And you're able to share that wealth of experience, even starting like a hub of other people who might need this sort of experience through their journey. So it's really something I'm very, very happy about. Thank you so much for sharing, because this is really different from my regular videos, but because of the sort of questions I get, especially through LinkedIn, it would be nice to put up this sort of content, and it might just help someone out there. Thanks so much, guys. So everything she had mentioned, all those big names, SEM Rush, Google Optimize, I'll put everything in the description box. And I will also put her social media handle in case you want to reach out to her. Zino is an amazing person. I'm just telling you. I don't know if to share with you, so I might not put her social media handle, but she's an awesome person. So I'll put everything you need in the description box. If you have other questions for her, you could just drop them in the comment section, and I'll follow up with her and let you know what her response is. Zino, thanks so much.
Thank you.
With you.
Same here.
Take care of yourself.
What you say?
I said stay safe and take care of yourself.
You too. All right. Bye. Bye.